So here's the situation. The man says that he orchestrated the murder of the sheriff-elect. He was involved after that in a drug deal in which a person was shot in his front yard. And he pleads guilty to tampering with evidence. 1 year. And he's almost served all of that. Well, it's quite a remarkable plea deal. And to help us to discuss it and perhaps, we hope, understand it, we're joined by James Wronko. He is a criminal defense lawyer in New Jersey. What do you think of this deal?
It's a great one.
If you represented him, you'd be licking your chops.
I wish I could get that deal for all my clients. It would be wonderful.
Well, what does it do? Well, first of all, why did the prosecutors give him such a good deal? This may be a simple-minded question, but I would think that since he admits to being involved in the killing, they'd want some sort of conviction on the killing, even if it's a short term in prison.
I can only speculate that they needed him so badly, that he was so key to prosecuting Mr. Dorsey, that they had to give him everything he wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other explanation for it.
Now, in your judgment and based on your experience, what impact on the jury, if any, does it have that he is so involved in all this wrongdoing himself, and he's gotten off so easily?
Well, it's incredibly difficult for a prosecutor to put on as a witness someone who's been given that sweethearted deal. What you have to do is try to explain why you did it, explain you had no other choice, and you really need somebody to corroborate him. You need someone to come in and say, he may be a liar, he may be a drug dealer, a murderer, but he's telling the truth because A, B, and C line up, and that's where the key really comes in.
Now, of course, we all know, and I guess everybody knows involved in this case, except maybe the jurors, that there had been a previous trial against the other two men who were involved in this shooting. We just heard him say right at the end of his direct that Melvin Walker was the trigger man.
Right.
Walker walked. He was acquitted in no time. And the reason was that they just didn't have much corroboration of what Cuffey had to say, and the jury didn't believe this bird.
Well, and that's the problem the prosecutor has. You have to corroborate the witnesses. Now, there may be something in this trial which corroborates it as to Dorsey, then didn't work against the other two gentlemen.
That in fact is true. As it has unfolded already in this case, there's some corroboration, and particularly important was the corroboration of Sidney Dorsey's own former chief of staff, the man who was later his campaign manager, and a pretty upright guy. I mean, he is an upright man. And he was told by Dorsey after this murder of the sheriff-elect, before the killing, that the sheriff-elect would never take office, and Dorsey, would win in a special election.
That's what the prosecutor needed. That's the kind of information they need. Someone who doesn't have an axe to grind, doesn't have that kind of motive and bias, especially with these other guys involved.
Yeah. Well, there has been this prior trial